I've been to LPL. I've been to the Star Ladder we had here in Shanghai, and just the fans are insane over here. It makes me so happy that they all get their own home. Like, what is this? What? Oh, jeez, we're into picking bands here. LGD gonna be on blue side once more. RNG gonna stick to their red side as we got Karma, Irelia, and Zaya being banned out by LGD. RNG gonna get rid of the Aatrox, the Olaf, and that Nico.
So there's still a lot of the picks that we were kind of talking about beforehand open. The likes of the Akali. Silas is still first pickable here for the side of LGD. Looks like they're going to hover towards the Jace, though, instead. I mean, it worked last game for them, but I felt Yuki definitely didn't have the best of situations up against Xiaohu on the Silas. I want to see if they are going to put it in down towards Yuki in the mid lane, or whether Lies will be the one that's pioneering this Jace in the top lane.
Now, let's see here. It's going to be, like you mentioned, those getting locked in. Silas going to get locked in likely for Xiaohu once more, and the Rek'Sai is left open, so Karsa is going to pick it up.
And this is a pretty terrifying double lock-in from RNG. The Silas, we already saw what Xiaohu was capable of doing on that champion. Karsa, we saw in game one, had run-of-the-mill on this Rek'Sai pick. And, I mean, maybe Ender had his calling card there because it was, of course, the Halo Blades Rek'Sai as well, which just took control from Condi there in the early stage of the game. It took that 3 buffs and just set out RNG on such a strong footing. We were saying, though, Condi going towards this Nocturne in that first game wasn't the best pick. I think now is your opportunity to lock in a strong jungler for yourselves. You will not be able to pick up some of these bigger supports that are available, like the Nautilus, but I think getting comfort for Condi in this is a better situation.
Let's see here. Condi going to be locking in the Sivir, and that's going to be the Elise getting locked in here for Condi this time around. So we'll see if that's going to be the comfort that they're looking for, as I see Squirrel Squad now. The memes are just legendary. Sivir getting locked in for Kraber for that bot lane once again for LGD. So kind of seeing the similar of what we saw in the last game.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a different style, though, coming from the jungle at least. I know it's still early aggression coming through from the LGD side, but I think the Elise offers a lot more in the dive potential, especially since you can escape a lot of those turrets with the repel. If you do end up having R&D on something like that Alistar that we saw Ming pick up in the last game, this suddenly becomes a very strong bottom lane. But of course, we're seeing that Sivir locked in one more time, which means that Yuumi will probably be one of the bans that are coming out from RNG.
See here, it's going to be still yet again Kaisa getting locked in. Nautilus going to be banned out, as well as the Alistar. So those support pools being targeted. We'll see whether or not that Rakan possibly gets banned out as well. RD won't be able to go for some gnarly hooks on the Nautilus like we saw in the first game, or go for some rides that he shouldn't have taken. So he ends up clipping the terrain every once in a while in some awkward instances. So other ban going to be this Galio. So again, another one of those beefy boys you'd see in the bot lane.
Yeah, it does leave the Yuumi open, though, if maybe Ming wants to pick that one up for themselves. I think with how many of the big boy supports that are looking for the heavy engage that have been taken off the board, I think it'd be a bit of a mistake for RNG to try and leave that pick open. But it looks instead they want to try and get some comfort in the top lane, get Lang X up on towards this rise and see if they can dish out all the damage against Lies.
See here, that's going to be, like you mentioned, that Rise getting locked in for LGD. What do they want to try and ban out or pick back here? So they get their last 2 lock-ins, as the Akali was banned out just earlier, and that's going to be a cannon going on over likely to Lies this time. So again, opting in for these team fights on the side here of LGD.
And I don't mind that. I think it's actually a great opportunity here, especially with the way Lies was positioning in the last team fights with the Pop Blossom. It's essentially the same thing. Nico isn't available this time around. Well, how about this big AoE stun that deals a whole crap ton of damage? It works out perfectly for Lies. And when you've got at least some form of CC that can come through with the Elise there to try and start off these fights with that long-range cocoon, you've got the opportunity then for Lies to position correctly and doesn't always have to be the one that's leading the charge in these situations.
Yuumi going to be locked in here for RD, so the Cat's going to make its first appearance in our series between LGD and RNG. Thresh being the hover here for Ming. This would be a little bit of a swap up, but does fit well into the comp, so they're going to go ahead and get that locked in. So we'll see a Thresh up against the Yuumi.
Yeah, the reason that you're going for the Thresh here is that it's kind of the last remaining super aggressive champion that you can pick. try and get on towards Kramer and see if you can get that engage down. Unfortunately, though, it's pretty telegraphed when you're trying to go for that engage. Play doesn't have the longest range. The hook as well is obvious when you're going to toss that one out. So an easy spell shield for Kramer to just get away from that one. The big thing here, though, is you're not really going to have the pushing potential from Uzi to deal with how well Kramer and RD can push in this wave. The way that this Sivir Yuumi lane works is you're getting a huge amount of poke down early with the Yuumi, and the Sivir just ricochets her way through the entire wave and clears it out. Now, Uzi does have the Cathian Rain, but you're going to run very quickly out of the mana if you're not going for that Manamune build that we've seen start to rise in popularity. So I think we'll see Uzi go towards that, try and dissuade a little bit of it, but it's still a very tough time for the bottom lane from RNG to deal with.
Yeah, and as a reminder, guys, we will be checking back into the other series taking place from time to time, as OMG and WE still have yet to get into their first champion select, so we'll keep our eyes open and peeled, give you guys some updates, and then obviously jump on over to that cast. That'll be myself and Sin, as I know, Ghosty, you got some stuff you got to do later on here in today, so we'll finish off your series as a whole, and then we'll move on.
Well, sounds good. Well, it's definitely a series that I'm looking forward to seeing, but I really want to see as well how this series that we're watching right now turns out, because LGD definitely bringing it to RNG. It hasn't been an easy series at all for who we were expecting to be the victor here with RNG. Now they've got to try and take this in game number 3, and LGD looking like a lot of comfort picks coming in for them.
Have a lot more of a comfort style pick, but again, still same idea. You press that Sivir R, you go in for that big team fight. You got the Kennen ultimate, you got that Yuumi ultimate as well. We'll see how well RNG is able to, I guess, answer this Yuumi. First time we'll see them play against it here as we load on into the Rift for game 3. Looking like a blood moon here as we're going to be figuring out which team's going to be taking home the series.
Yeah, I think a lot of this will come down to the pressure that Rek'Sai can exert in the early stages of the game. We saw Karsa take control against LGD in game number 1. Now doesn't quite have the same opportunity to do so in game number 2, but we saw just early jungle disruption can cause bigger issues as the game starts to unfold, and really that was how LGD got a little bit of an early lead for themselves in that second game as well.
Yeah, you hear the cheers through the LGD arena. Feeling pretty good. We'll see whether or not they can go 2 games back-to-back to take the series. As looks like nothing too crazy to start things off here. Maybe a very late invade possibly coming out from LGD if they decide to go for it. They've got 4 members here, and there's no ward coverage from RNG, but that is going to be Karsa starting up toward the top side of the map on this Rek'Sai.
And this was something that we talked about starting to rise in popularity, and at least solo queue junglers is starting over on that red side simply because there's so much more XP over that side of the jungle, so it makes sense to clear that one out first and start to pick up a few little level advantages for yourself. But with knowing that, LGD decide to punish, they move in, and now possibly have picked up a 3-buff start for themselves. We'll have to see if Karsa has figured this out and might try and move over towards the opposite side of the jungle.
Yeah, opting to go up toward the Krugs right away, and Condi's actually going to steal away as much of the camps as they can before deciding to leave out. See if Karsa decides to go on over as the Prowling Projectile getting a little bit of damage from RD on this Yuumi. The Sitsquat, that is just one hilarious animation where it just kind of just sits there. It's a little bit of a bug where it actually just stops and it doesn't actually flap the book. It's just a cat that's just attached to you. Oh.
Well, we can see already LGD getting some good control in this bottom lane, pushing in really effectively, and this is what we're pretty much going to see all game long. And this is sad times for Karsa when you get over here and realize, crap, everything is gone.
Yeah, he's going to take a peek here. He might decide to go over. I think he just wants to go ahead and secure possibly Scuttle. It's still a while, though. It's still going to spawn here in the next couple of seconds, so a lot of priority, but instead opting to just back off here as LGD realized that he came on through with that ward. Up in top lane, though, Lang X getting some decent damage here onto Lies with this Rise pickup here in Game 3.
They're finding the opportunity to skirt around the edge of those minions and get a decent trade over towards Lies. And maybe this is an opportunity now for Karsa to get up here. Knows that they've got the advantage of the health bars from the top laners. So might try to go for the evade and maybe pick up the jungle that was taken away by Kondi in these early stages of the game.
So here Kondi's making his way up. Did get that Scuttle, so got a little bit of a speed boost. We'll see if they're going to look for a play here. Xiao is level 4. That's going to be the hammer slash coming on in, and a bit of a wide one on the cocoon there. Xiaohu's able to get away without even having to burn flash.
Yeah, just able to hop, skip, and jump his way out of that one. And a little bit of a miscommunication there. Condi looked like they're about to back away as Yuki went in. I think it was a bit of a panic cocoon coming through from Condi to try and make the play work. But now, making their way down towards the bottom side, will be spotted out by a nice ward timing from Ming.
Yeah, we'll see here, Ming. And then just underneath the tower, Uzi's going to go ahead and back off themselves, and they're just going to play this one safe, realizing that possibly they could see a dive coming out from Condi, unless they decide to stay around. They want to try and soak up as much farm as they can. Carson's looking for possibly a play up here toward top lane. Xiaohu's also roaming over from mid lane, so it's going to be a 3-man dive in top lane. That's going to force at least the teleport immediately coming out here to try and interrupt this dive. That's from Kramer along with the Yuumi, so both of them just going to head on back to base.
Yeah, so able to get the teleport out there means that they're not going to be able to keep control of this bottom lane, but at least they keep lives in check. But it does give up quite a lot of control now, because what we were kind of talking about was that you use that teleport advantage to keep Kramer in the CS advantage, pick up early item spikes, and then try and win out through that way. If you're using that teleport defensively to try and save your top laner, you're not going to be able to utilize that to get your lane advantage. And I think it's Uzi and Ming breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief when they saw that teleport go through.
So they're going to go ahead and back off here. Lai's just going to push in that wave. Decent amount of minions actually going to go back on over to Lang as he was able to walk back into the base. So a bit of a CS lead starting to rack up here for this Rise on the side here of RNG. Other lanes, though, pretty even. Condi's still trying to make a play here at mid. Really wants to see if Xiaohu's going to make an appearance, but Xiaohu's walking back to lane, so a little early there from Condi.
Yeah, and that's why Yuki just going to push this one in. And I think that, again, Condi really wants to make these early plays happen. You can see how aggressive they are moving around the map, but unfortunately, it just hasn't really come to fruition for them. The lanes haven't been in a position where they can try and make anything happen. And I think hang on until level 6 where Lies has that ultimate available. It might be your best option, just because you can collapse on that Rise very, very quickly, and you've got an easy setup with the stun there. But we'll have to see if that is going to be an option, or whether Condi might end up finding themselves toe-to-toe with Karsa roaming down this river.
Well, Condi's coming down here. RNG, though, already underneath their tower, so LGD going to be put together as a pack. Xiaohu is making his way on down as well. They're going to go ahead and turn back toward that scuttle. Yuki waiting around the corner, going to try and get some decent damage off there. Still a little bit early, though. Only has the Dirk to add on some Arbor Pen and a little bit of attack damage, but not a whole lot. LGD, though, staying as a group this time, not splitting apart. And RNG looking for a hook there from Ming, not going to land.
Spidey sense is tingling from Kramer. Doesn't find themselves caught up by Ming. I don't even know if Ming really wanted to take that fight anyway, because you're still only level 4 on this Thresh 2. The double level 5 coming through from LGD. So a little bit of a level discrepancy there, as RNG's bot lane had to try and come out and give up a few minions to that tower to help out the junglers in the river. Again, Conti. Look, I'm going to give it to Conti. This is sheer determination at this point.
He's trying to make something happen in a lane. He might have the opportunity, but nope, there's a ward. Keeping him tabs on him. Fortunately, the Spider isn't going to be able to do a whole lot. They keep getting caught out as they try and make an appearance toward the lane.
You can see the idea there, though. We were kind of talking about it was, you got the Slicing Maelstrom available for Lies, should be able to close the gap fairly easy onto Lang X, and Condi can then just come in and clean up for the glory. But with that ward, get spotted out, can't quite make it work, so Condi will go back into their own jungle. It has opened up about a 10 CS lead for the jungler. Karsa hitting their level 6 nice and early, so this is where we might see Karsa start to get a little bit more active across the map.
See here, RNG still playing a bit far back here. Zuzi's going to take the lantern and just waiting for this one here. Kramer's fine farming. We'll see if Karsa can make an appearance here in a lane. Wants to try and maybe jump on top of Yuki. So Yuki's trying to just...
Oh, he's not in the bush.
Oh no, Karsa, you're seen! What? Oh, that's tragic. I don't think he's still in the bush.
That's so sad.
I don't think... Oh, that's a little awkward. Oh, Karsa. You know, it's hard to see sometimes.
Don't pay attention to the giant land shark.
It's sometimes hard. I'll give it to Karsa. Sometimes it's hard to see when you're when you're I think he's still... Okay, Yuki, if you die to this... Oh, that's the ultimate coming on through. He should survive. And Karsa gets to safety with the flash. That's first blood. Going on over to Xiaohu with the Knight. Even with the Land Shark not being in the brush, Yuki doesn't pay enough respect. I'm not too sure why they stayed that far forward.
Yeah, that's rather unfortunate there for Yuki, not respecting, exactly as you were saying, how much damage can come out from Xiaohu, just a lockup that's there. And it was just easy for Karsa to find their way underneath that turret with the ultimate. I wasn't sure if Yuki was going to get the return kill, but unfortunately knocked him that little bit too far away for that final tower shot to finish off Karsa, making it 1-for-1. But yeah, that was not a play that I was expecting to work anytime soon. And yeah, this is sad.
It hurts. It sometimes hurts to watch. As it's going to be the first kill here for RNG at about 9 minutes. Additionally, too, our other game has just started. Nothing too notable except for the Renekton mid coming out from OMG. So pulling out a DoMV special on the other stream. But other than that, that game is just starting underway. So not a whole lot being missed out here. Is still RNG. It's this is a much slower game. And I feel for Condi because we mentioned he's been trying to make plays. But he just keeps getting spoiled out. It's just really good ward coverage coming out from RNG.
And that's the problem, is that Condi, if you're trying to commit towards these lanes to get the ganks off, and they're not coming through for you, it means that you're going to be set pretty far behind. Now, has managed to equal up that CS, but was definitely sitting at a level discrepancy when it came towards Karsa. Karsa, one gank, one kill. I mean, when you look at the efficiency rate that's coming through from RNG, it's sky high. But we're actually seeing Kramer and RD make their way up towards this top lane, see if they can maybe make a pick, but the Rek'Sai is already back to, the Rise is backed away already.
Yeah, already back to the base, sitting at almost a 20 CS advantage, so Lies isn't even actually going to soak up that wave. He's going to end up going back, as it was already a lane swap coming out from their bot lane that is going to allow Condi to go for this Rift Herald. So LGD do get themselves an objective. It does get traded though, as RNG did get that dragon, and they're getting themselves some nice turret plating as well.
I'm surprised that LGD were the one who initiated this lane swap here. Kramer and RD were doing a great job of putting the pressure down on towards Uzi and Ming. There was enough damage that's coming out from RD as well now after completing one of the components of the Athene's Holy Grail. I mean, you want to continue that forward. I mean, yes, you can use this Rift Herald to get the tower in the top lane, but I think putting more pressure down onto the bottom lane, stopping Uzi from getting these extra turret platings would have been far better for them. Now Uzi will pick up a tower for themselves, has a bunch of extra turret plating gold that they really shouldn't have had any business getting.
Well, Shelly's also going to get another charge here, and that's going to be a second-tier tower going on over to LGD. They got themselves the first tower of the game, and they're going to get themselves a little bit more possibly here. RNG, though, they want to try and turn this one around. Is going to get spotted out on a ward, though, as Xiaohu comes around the corner. So that is going to be a trade of towers. That second-tier tower takes a decent amount of damage, but does not fall. And like you mentioned, Uzi getting all this solo gold on top of the turret plates. It kind of feels like it was a better payoff for RNG, but we'll have to see in the long run.
Yeah, especially since the RNG were the ones that were on the back foot here. I think giving that much control back over towards them is going to make it difficult. And now even the lane assignments become a little bit more difficult as well. Lies has been put behind comparatively to the Rise because they were the ones that had to make the lane swap first. Didn't manage to get towards that tower to keep it safe as well. So the CS discrepancy and a level discrepancy for Lies. And now if they go up against Lang X, who's been doing a great job of punishing the Kennen so far, I feel like that's only become an even more difficult matchup for them.
Yeah, Kramer going to go into that mid lane, go ahead and clear out some of that farm, as Uzi's just going to continue farming away solo here. As looks like Ming has gone a little bit on a vacation. Just going to go ahead and scout out some wards, clear out some vision, then go on back to help out his AD carry. As far as vision goes, not a whole lot being put down here by RNG. They only covered the entrances of the river, but they haven't been able to really push down into this jungle to really try and catch out Condi. It's been cleared out pretty often here by LGD, so even though they got themselves that early tower, still a lot of work to do.
I'm interested to see now what Lang X decides to do though with that tower down, because if this Rise freezes that wave just in front of their turret, there's no way Lies can try and overextend to pick up that farm. Kennen can get knocked up quite easily by Karsa if they decide to show their face up that way, and it'll make it very difficult. But Karsa
Oh, that's the teleport coming out here. No one's fallen just yet. Lies was looking for a possible play, but not able to fully commit there. That's going to be the teleport from both Kramer and Lies being burned. And that should be another tower here for LGD. It almost feels like RNG showing more respect than they did in game 2. Because honestly, it just feels like they just don't want to fight.
It's really difficult to try and fight with the discrepancies in just teleport summoner spells when it comes into this. LangX does have theirs, but you're constantly on the back foot because Kramer can join in a team fight at any point in time and bring RD with them. You've got Lies who managed to TP down towards that bottom lane nice and early as well. So it's a little bit hard for RNG to make these calls just straight off the back. And LangX, unfortunately, as a Rise at this stage of the game, doesn't really have much more damage than a minion, so won't be able to get that tower for themselves.
Oh, no.
But Karsa has been spotted out here.
Yeah, that is just enough info for Lies to decide not to keep going toward that brush Xiao, who was looking for it too. And yeah, like you mentioned, I kind of teleporting into a fight at level 9 just a little bit more than a Rise in most instances when it comes to team fights. LangX not going to be able to finish off that tower though, as Kramer and RD are going to be able to get themselves the push here in the mid lane. Xiaohu is over toward the side, but Yuki's also nearby to help provide some defense. So I'm interested to see here if Ming is going to be looking to make a play. Ends up stealing away the ultimate, or the abilities, I guess you could say, from the Jace. But other than that, not a whole lot's going to be able to be done as LGD slowly chip away at another tower. And if they get this mid lane tower, it really opens up the map for them.
100% does, and it's difficult for RNG to try and engage on this as well because you've got a great amount of disengage that can come through from LGD. Same combo we were talking about in the last game, that acceleration gate, and you've got the on the hunt as well to just outpace your opponents. But at the same time, you're running into the likes of this Kennen with the Maelstrom. You've got the ultimate there from Yuumi too, which is such a pain to try and deal with. You're essentially running into a crescendo. Yes, it deals less damage, but it's easier to lock you up at the same time.
Let's see here, and that's going to be the dragon actually started off by RNG. We're going to try and pull this one back as Uzi's going to get some damage. That'd be the second Cloud Dragon. Thing though here for RNG, you leave open your mid lane, so that's going to be your mid lane outer tower for another dragon. Cloud Drake's going to be helpful when it comes to those team fights. They'll be able to at least maybe match a little bit of some of that move speed and mobility that LGD have in their kits, but you lose out on the map control that you would have from mid lane with this tower still standing. So it depends on how LGD now play this and whether or not they're able to push forward a vision advantage, possibly going through the river.
It's a hard one to call. I mean, even though LGD have we kind of been talking about them on the ones that are taking the advantages and pushing forward. When we actually look at the gold lead, we're bang on even in this. So RNG are picking up a few advantages when it just comes towards the CS. In particular, my eyes are looking towards that top lane where, okay, hang on.
Oh, hello. Lies just gets taken down. We'd go back up toward top like you mentioned, but RNG find themselves a quick pick.
I mean, it's just a case of this is where they've managed to get their vision control down. RNG got that early turret, invested a huge amount in keeping control of this bottom quadrant of the LGD jungle. It pays off there and sets Lies even further behind. I was going to say, I mean, a 50 CS lead for LangX on this Rise right now, and Lies is being put further behind once again thanks to that pick.
So not what they're looking for here. LGD have yet to find themselves a kill so far, as it's being a slow game so far for them. We're looking to wait this one out, it seems, as the 2 kills have gone on over to RNG. Yuki's going to go back up toward that top lane, clear it out. Really investing a lot here onto Uzi, it would seem, here on the side of RNG, especially getting all those early turret plates put all onto the AD carry, getting the solo turret gold, letting him farm out. He's going to have to really step it up here on the Kaisa when it comes to the later fights.
Definitely, and it's a brave call coming through from LGD here to try and go for this macro gameplay, because if it doesn't work out, the likes of that Kaisa are going to get up towards the Guinsoo's Rage Blade and find fights that can work quite well for them. I feel like LGD are just trying to play a very strategic game, but it's been one of the factors that LGD hasn't quite been the strongest at. We saw them in the last game where team fights were working out great for them, but overextensions were coming in a plethora of different moments, and LGD have got to find a way to try and stop that in this game right now, because one misstep, RNG will collapse on Zhao, who has those chains to yoink you back in. You've got to be careful of a death sentence coming out of any sort of brush as well. So this is a very different style from LGD, but if they can pull it off, it's great to see a very different style come out from them.
I'm going to rotate over here on the side. That's Condi. See here is once again Zhao pushing in this mid lane. Baron's going to be joining us in about 1 minute as RD makes his way here with that Yuumi. Slowly just sitting on that Athene so far. Looking to upgrade his item. RNG maybe looking for an invade here. They know someone's around the corner. Yuki's going to get caught out, gets knocked up, and he's going to get hooked to death. And the death sentence is written. And they're going to go ahead and pick up a nice pick. Once again, RNG just feeling like they have control of the map, and they might be looking for a little bit more here. That's also going to be a teleport. Now LGD are going to be forced to have to make a play. That's going to be the flash over the wall from Kramer to get them both to safety.
And this is what I mean. If LGD aren't investing in towards the wards, they can't play the macro game. RNG's picks are so strong with Ming on this Thresh. Shows it right there. Kar's able to spot people out with the tremor sense, and they collapse straight away.
You can even see him looking for another little pick there with the prowling projectile. Just going to go ahead and stop the back. LGD still missing out here. Feels like the vision's starting to cave in toward their mid lane. That mainly outer tower in mid kind of being their bastion of hope when it comes to the mid section of the map, as RNG have already placed down their wards down onto the side lanes to keep safety for their split pushers. And now it's kind of that little bit of a LGD starting not to be able to do a whole lot, because now they feel scared just to move forward.
And that's the style of composition LGD have gone for here, is, as we're talking about, that disengage, try and get some poke and see if we can maneuver around the map more effectively, and try and get Lies to come in with the Maelstrom off from a flank. If they're not getting the vision control down, if they're not the ones that are in control, this becomes a pretty difficult composition to try and pilot. And RNG are taking full advantage of that, catching LGD out in rotations and punishing where it's according. But LGD now, you said it, trying to defend this mid lane turret. It's going to be so hard to try and do that, though, if they don't have control of their jungle. And I think they need to start looking towards where their ward line is right now, because I think it's a bit too far up to spot what RNG are trying to do.
See here is RNG just going to go ahead and clear out the waves once more and wait for side here of LGD to be the ones to make a play. They're going to go ahead and pick up their first elemental Drake of the game, so they're going to deny the 3 stack from RNG for the Cloud Dragon. It's going to be an Ocean Drake to join us next. Still a little too early for the Elder Drakes, as a nice Lantern from Ming is going to get them over to safety. As LG find themselves a little bit of a minion wave. Going to take a quick peek on over to our other stream game. It is OMG with a slight advantage so far, but WE has been able to strike back with a couple kills of themselves. Weren't able to pick up the Rift Herald that does appear, but still looks like OMG have a slight advantage. But back to this one, Yuki just going to go ahead and clear out the wolves.
Yeah, but might have been caught out because of a second time now. Yuki in their own jungle, forced to try and flash away. And RNG, they take that as enough of a signal to try and go for the Baron. This is a pretty risky call. Lies could try and teleport in here, but they've got no vision.
They're going to try for it here. It's down to 2,000 health on the side of RNG. That's going to be everything used in a beautiful Rise ultimate coming out there from Lang X. It was one more wave from that Yuumi, and they would have been all stuck in the pit. Some nice timing, and RG are able to pull off the heist.
Impeccable timing there, because if that had gone either way, 1 second too early, you don't get that Baron, and you're still not getting out of it, or you're just setting that up for LGD. 1 second later, and you're caught up, and you're not going anywhere. So RNG playing on a game of inches there, but it manages to pay out for them.
Nicely done there. We're going to take another quick look here, because honestly, you see this team running at you. Yeah, I'd want an instant teleport too.
Yeah, that was pretty much pixel perfect there. That was so close.
Oh, jeez. Because you got a Sivir ultimate that would have been popped. You would have had a Kennen getting an easy 5-man stun. It would have been ugly, to say the very least. But they're able to escape, so RNG now get themselves a Baron buff immediately, pretty much as it spawns. Uzi's starting to get really big now. Has that Rage Blade completed on the Kaisa. Starting to make a push forward. Karsa's also nearby. Has the Black Cleaver completed. Lies having to be careful. Still has a stopwatch available if he gets caught out. But Colonel's starting to favor RNG pretty heavily here.
And I don't blame him. I mean, you're looking at a 4K goal lead that's opening up. We're just about to hit that 24-minute mark. You've got the core items that are starting to be completed. You call it Gwinsu's on to Uzi. Zhao Hu as well has that Luden's Echo completed, working up towards that Sonya's Hourglass. And as well in the top lane, we've even seen a bit more of the tanky stats coming in from Lang X, going for that Righteous Glory. Still gives you quite a bit of damage, of course, because of the conversion on the passive from mana into AP on the rise, so it's a great item, and especially when you're trying to chase down a pretty slippery LGD thanks to all these speed ups, it'll help out.
Oh, they're trying though. That's going to be the ultimate pop by the Yuumi. He's going to get stunned up, and Zhao, who has nowhere to go, he's going to get taken down. So nice pickup there from LGD.
Yeah, they will manage to get one Baron buff off, and Zhao, who is definitely on this Silas, is someone who could go off towards the side lane and start to split push, so not having that option is great. But I have no idea how this mid lane turret is still standing. Like, when all is said and done, we're 25 minutes into this game. They've got a Baron buff, and somehow this 10 HP mid lane turret is still standing in the mid lane.
Yeah, you know, a breeze of wind could knock it over, and I think Uzi's going to be the one to blow it, as he's going to be able to find himself another tower. Another injection of gold, as RNG now sit just under 5,000 gold ahead of LGD. Looking for a push in the bot lane too. It's going to get cleared out though by Lies on the cannon, as LGD look to try and reset here, as they're still holding out on this Baron. Nothing's really threatened them so far. Nothing has come close to an inhibitor tower. There's still a lot of towers still standing for LGD, so it's not the end of the world that RNG got this Baron buff. It would have been great for them if they were able to secure it, and that's, I think, the bigger thing here that RNG was able to accomplish.
Well, I think the reason that they were able to pick it up is shown on the map right now. I mean, look at the vision control that's there for RNG. It is littered across the map in its entirety. LGD only now starting to get some semblance of wards out on the map, but it's really not enough. RNG have been in control of Summoner's Rift the entire way through this game, and LGD haven't been able to keep it in order, and that's the big factor here, is when you're playing a composition like this that relies on flanks, that relies on being able to run away from potential threats, you need that vision control in the right place at the right time, and LGD have not been getting that.
We'll see here, as that's going to be a push coming out from LGD, as they're looking to now pick up an inner tier tower. Nicely done from the squad. That can really open up the midsection of the map. Maybe they can try and reclaim some of that vision, but meanwhile, top lane, Lang X, he's flamed Horizon the cannon now. He's sitting over 100 CS up, and he's knocking down towers. And Karsa's nearby too. No one's really coming up here in time to prevent this.
And look at the item difference that Lang X has right now. About to complete their third item, whereas when you look over towards Kennen, has a single one, that Gunblade, and that's it in their inventory. This is such a big difference when it comes towards the top laners, and unfortunately Lies just isn't cutting it this time around. Saw them have a great performance on the Nico, but this is a completely different story on the Kennen. Lang X running away with this top lane matchup.
It's nicely done here by Lang X, as Baron buff does dissipate there, as RNG are able to add another 1,800 to the 3,000 they had before the Baron started. So nicely done there, now exceeding a gold lead to just over 4,000 gold. As Kramer's just going to try and clear out some of the wolves. Gets a little bit of a reset, a little unfortunate here, but timer's now ticking for LGD on what they want to try and do here. They keep getting these lulls in the game where RNG are backing. They're not really pushing on forward, but they just decide not to try and get vision for themselves because they're just too hesitant.
And this could end up costing them in the long run, but I'm keeping my eyes down on this bottom lane as well. Rek'Sai trying to get in here, see if they can pick off someone going to deal with the split push from Lang X, but LGD have decided, you know what, we don't want anything to do with that. We're just going to try and run it down mid, and they might have caught RNG out here just a little bit.
Well, look at this. LGD, they don't really know what they want to do. That's going to be the ultimate being popped by LGD. Kramer wants to try and go for a push here. Lang X is just going to go ahead and try and push, and RNG gonna lose out here onto the tower. Do they try and defend this completely, or are they just gonna trade an inhibitor for possibly an inhib? RNG, they've split up. LGD are just gonna take the inhib. Lang X, I think he gets the inhibitor tower, but he might get stopped possibly by Lies or something. I don't think he gets the inhibitor.
Yeah, you have to be careful here from RNG if they try and chase down too far. So RNG are going to try and get LangX to clear this out, but if they chase too far into the jungle with that exposed inhibitor now in mid lane, LGD could try and take a fight or take this Baron. They're trying to make a call. LangX will need to teleport in very quickly.
He's still pushing here. Now the teleport's going to come out from LGD. What is their decision going to be? Wayne over toward the side. There's a Kennen ultimate available for Xiaohu. He can flash on over the wall. Instead, he just jumps on over, and boom, he gets in there, and he's able to find himself some stuns. There's some decent amount of damage. Uzi gets himself a double kill. Is able to pick off as Kramer's running. Lies is also going to get taken on down. He's trying to go as far as he can, but he's going to get rooted. He's going to get taken on down. And BD, the cat's just going to get chowed down here by Karsa as they finish them off. LGD, that's going to be the ace. And with minions in bot lane, they should be able to end.
And that was just unfortunate play from LGD, not in the correct position to try and take that fight before the teleport completed from LangX. They get caught out around the Baron, and RNG punish and pick up the game.
Well, it's going to be nicely done there, as that's going to be it, as RNG able to finish off this game, and unfortunately there for the side of LGD. It felt like they had some composition possibilities there, but they just weren't able to finish it off, Gosu.
I think it just comes down towards the macro game. They tried to outmaneuver a lot of what RNG were doing, rotating the bot lane up towards the top to get some early terror plates, but there was no need for a lot of these kind of fancier plays. Just all you had to do was just continue to punish RNG. You could have had the Elise try and go up and get the Rift Herald herself, especially after you started to get a little bit of control in towards that mid and top lane. But when they started to move people around, Lies ended up the one that was put behind because they couldn't pick up the CS, couldn't pick up the levels, and then LangX took over the game in those side lanes.
Yeah, so that is going to do it for our first series, but I know I do have another caster standing by here. So, Gosu, thank you for joining us for our first show, though be it a very quick one, I guess, a very late notice one, but it was always great to have you as well.
Yeah, it was great to be a part of it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you guys can bring out for series number 2.
All right, thank you, Gosu. For now, we're going to say goodbye to Gosu, and now I'm going to go ahead and introduce Sin to the cast. Sin, how are you doing, buddy? I hope. He might be muted. That's a possibility, too. That would be a little awkward. I think he is.
It is definitely a possibility. In fact,
oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, we're
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be here watching OMG versus WE, watching a bit of this series.
Yeah, you've been watching. You're gonna have to give me a quick little bit of an update, I guess, as far as this series goes. What have you been able to see? Because I've been sending you the feed.
I mean, everybody's had the moments. Yeah, we've seen Crystal and Hootie having their re-debut since their time on Snake quite a while back. Curse having his debut in the LPL as well, and it's been a tale of just 2 players. It has been GA and Curse, as you can probably tell from the scoreline. Curse has just been so trying to 1v9 every single team fight, pushing it to the absolute limit of what his champion can do. And GA on the other side has just been cleaning up kills when OMG have been overextending in these fights. So I'm excited to see how this one ends out. But right now, I've still got my money on OMG. I think they're scaling into the game, and I think the amount of resources they're going to have in the later stages are just going to carry them through, in spite of Penguin kind of getting outscaled.
Well, let's take a look here. It's 23 minutes on the clock. Both teams going to go ahead and center up. That's going to be a Sejuani ultimate coming out into a knock-up. Teleport's going to be used here by WE. Going to try and stall out this fight as long as possible. Mystic's going to have to back off, but he's got 2 members on top of him. The Aurelia is just going to try and shred him apart. Unfortunately, he can't escape. Meanwhile, back over to the left side of your screen, that's going to be the rest of OMG cleaning up the kills, as that's another one going down. 3 members of WE are going to fall, and that should be a quick Baron here now on the side of OMG.
And you can see what I mean, the team fight consistency that can come out when you've got all these members, the Kai'Sa, the Renekton, the Aurelia. There's always going to be all of these consistency that you can get when you've got a Galio jumping in on top of an Aurelia engage, on top of a Renekton engage. There's always somebody who can get you access to the backline.
Now we'll take a look here, and again, they're trying to stop this one. It might be a little bit too late, as unfortunately just getting over to safety, missing. Going to be taken really low. Does get back over toward the mid lane tower, as the Sejuani also able to escape there. But that's going to be the Baron now in favor of OMG. They started this off with a 4,300 lead, picking up the Baron buff. So we'll see how much they're able to open up here at 25 minutes.
Yeah, OMG just I've been really excited to see this roster since they announced the changes. Icon has always been one of the best mid laners in the LPL and has been consistently performing to such a high level. And when you give him a roster around him, like the return of Crystal and Hootie from Snake, and adding a new top laner in Curse who has all this carry potential, as it's being shown today, it means you get this kind of ability where they're taking down a team that was contesting playoff spots, that was doing so well at the end of last season where Mystic was hard carrying them. And Mystic, he's not had a good start to the season thus far, struggled against WE. It's kind of continuing into this series.
We'll see here. Push coming out from OMG. They're trying to knock it here onto the mid lane tower. Not going to happen, though, as WE are able to clear it out. Taking a look here at the items. In the mid lane is Icon on that Renekton. Going to be rocking the Spirit Soju, which I know you're a pretty decent fan of with the recent change to the item here for the Renekton especially.
Yeah, the Renekton's like it's something I was questioning. I don't understand why most Renektons weren't going Spirit Sojin, especially if we looked at the last series. But seeing it on here in on Icon, it's really good to get you to the 40% CDR. It gets you the bonus health. It gets you the fact that when you use your ultimate in these fights, you get the bonus CDR to get another stun off, to get another dash off, just to get these bonus abilities off in a fight that can completely change the course of a fight by getting on top of an ADC and causing them to lose their DPS for just 2 seconds can do so much.
Coming back over here, it's going to be WE trying to get a push on toward at least clearing out the minions once again. This Baron buff not really doing a whole lot. There's a decent amount of wave clear on the side of WE. You got the Xayah, you got the Xylus, so it's pretty hard. That will allow OMG, though, to rotate on over and actually pick up their first Elemental Drake. That's one thing they have been lacking this game, as WE have been able to secure it. It's going to be another Infernal spawning in a couple minutes. No, it's going to turn on over to a Cloud as Hootie looking for a possible stun. Spun is going to land here, as that's just going to be jumping into
here
the
it
thing.
is.
Oh my goodness, there's your dive coming in. And oh my god, you can say that again. WE just going to get slaughtered in between their tower. How is no one from OMG dying yet? Oh jeez, and there's a pop. What?
Full of dive buddies.
Who? What was that?
You always look at a champion like Aurelia, you look at a champion like Renekton, and you go, who's their dive buddy this game? Every single person in this team has the ability to be that dive buddy, and when they can pull off a fight like that, 5 men diving into the backline, there's nothing that WE can do to respond.
Oh, that was a little disgusting. Oh, I don't like seeing that between 2 towers at 27 minutes. That's not allowed. Let's go ahead and take another look at it, because it's just a simple stun, but that's enough for them to go for the engage.
Yeah, it's a really nice flank by Icon just to get them access to the backline. The stun gets Crystal in. Hootie comes flying in over the top. Meanwhile, it's just a case of getting these kills, finishing them off before the tower can do damage. And look at how they juggle the aggro between them. This team is suddenly finding a lot of synergy. And we know that Crystal is somebody who's been very vocal as a player in the past. He has been a shot caller for Snake back when he was playing for them before he ended up in kind of contract tech over spring. While we didn't really know if he was going to play or not, suddenly has a team again in summer and instantly showing why he was considered one of the best shot callers in the LPL.
Nicely done there. So they get themselves the dive. They also get themselves 2 towers, opening up that gold lead to almost 7,000 at 28 minutes. And now you got GAs also starting to be completed. The dive is just getting more and more scary. So the question is, does OMG decide, oh, you know, we want to play a little safe, or do they continue to just keep diving in on this while they can?
Well, look at this now. You've got Stopwatch in support. You've got QSS and AD carry. You've got GAs in top and mid, and Azonia's in jungle. You can keep diving. You have all the tools there to keep diving as hard as you want. You don't give a damn.
We'll see here. Is back on over. Curse is just going to go ahead, clear up some of these minions down and toward the bot lane on this Aurelia. And some pings coming out toward the mid lane. OMG looking for a split now. They're going to send... that's the thing. When you pick that Renekton mid, you got, along with an Aurelia, you got 2 really nice split pushers to have in your arsenal. On top of that, too, you got a lot of safety for this AD carry with a Galio that can try and just stick on you, provide taunts, and provide a decent amount of peel. So feels like OMG, they're really liking their composition so far as what they've gone out of it.
I do want to highlight again, though, quickly, that this is Curse's first game in the LPL. This is the guy who's replacing Ale, a guy who a lot of people said had a lot of potential in the top lane for OMG, and even when they were struggling last season, the guy had a lot of potential to be a solid player if they continued with him, and they benched him for for Curse instead. So I had some questions. A lot of people had some questions, but OMG had belief in him, and it's showing off right here that what he can do and why that they put that faith in him. He's got the. He actually had the ability to go for the stopwatch on top of the GA as well, so he's going to be diving even harder. This is beautiful and disgusting. This is a perfect calamity.
It feels a little cheesy, like, you know, it's I'm loving it though. I also love his player photo. You'll see it during the break or when we get back to the online desk for game 2. His photo is troll too. It's just giving you a thumbs up and a big old smile saying, "Hey, how you doing? I'm coming into the LPL. I want my shot." He's doing it good so far. As OMG continue with this lead, they've kind of died down when it came from the Baron push. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to really get much other than that one dive, and that's pretty much the play. They get objectives after they win the team fights. It's not them going to be finding the opportunities unless WE give them to them when it comes to map rotation.
Yeah, and the fact that they have invested all this gold into these stopwatches, into these Zhonyas and GAs, this isn't just we want to dive hard. I know we like to joke around about it a bit, but all the same, look at the insane pick potential on the other side between the Poppy, the Sejuani, and the Silas with the Brom as well. The amount of stuns they can get, the amount of CC they can layer.
Oh, here you go though. Icon getting into the back line. Here comes that Galio ultimate. It separates the team. That's going to be 3 getting knocked up, and Hude is going to be able to pick it up. And here comes the Kaisa from across the screen. Mystic wants to join, but unfortunately for OMG, are they doing enough? Xie going to get taken on down. OMG continued to just burst them, and it looked like for a second that maybe WE was able to fight back in the fight, but it doesn't happen as they only take down the lone member being the support, and that's going to be the ace for OMG. And with minions, this should be the inhibitor.
Yeah, with Silas stealing the Galio ultimate, there was hope for a minute, but it wasn't enough. And that is going to be the inhibitor going down. Likely the game ending here as well. Still another 20-odd seconds. The minion wave fully here.
Minion wave's going to crash in. That's going to be the first Nexus tower falling. That's going to be the second, and it's still 7 seconds on Mystic. So OMG, in pretty much dominating diving fashion, take down WE to start things off here on our second series.
Yeah, they found the pieces of Exodia as the game went on, as they drafted this composition for the huge AoE team fights, for the wombo combos, and when they were finally able to set them up, they got to that phase of the game where they can make flanks happen, where they've got the towers down so they can get the wards deeper and start going behind the towers. Even if the towers aren't down yet, just having the pressure to be able to move into the enemy jungle, that's all they needed to get these plays going. And we saw once they started, they never stopped.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the post-game stats here in a sec. Welcome to my gray void, as it would be. Welcome to the online analyst desk. Yeah, that overall, you know, I kept checking in onto the game while we were casting our other series, and it felt like, you know, OMG, they got an advantage here and there, but WE, they were able to answer back, but felt like right when we joined, we saw the composition come online, and that's where you saw that heavy dive come through.
Yeah, it was it's a composition that it took a while to come online, but it was always in the top lane. We saw Curse just getting kill after kill, 1v1ing the Poppy, going so low in a couple of these fights where he was able to still pick up kills. It just ended up GA on the backside would pick up these kills in response, and it ended up WE getting control of the map again. But it was always OMG as the aggressors, and even though the composition was set up with a lot of pick from the side of WE, they could never really execute on it. They didn't get enough of a lead in those early stages, and so it meant when the team fight phase came around, they just didn't have enough to really force that through. So I'm definitely happy with the new look OMG. I'm happy with the strength they showed in their sort of playmaking, but they need to clean it up. Maybe with a bit more synergy, a bit more time, we can see this team really come together.
Well, we'll have to see here. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, of course, it's going to be game 2 between OMG and WE, and we'll see whether or not OMG can go ahead and just secure the series in pretty dominating fashion.